Don't be afraid. You have nothing to fear but your own heart, which could stop beating at any moment, like right now. Welcome to my humble abode, my Shadow Theater, a chamber of horrors where your very worst nightmares become reality. There's no escaping Shadow Theater. Welcome to Shadow Theater. I'm your host, Robert England.
Horror is not an abstract term, but something we intimately know, because we've all experienced it to one degree or another. And the most common way we have slipped into the grips of icy terror is through our own dreams. Nightmares. One of the most popular horror figures in modern U.S. cinema capitalizes on those nasty nocturnal events. He is Freddy Krueger, the anti-hero of the long-running Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Freddy is everyone's worst bedtime encounter. But what motivates this character who has so captured the imagination of movie audiences that his saga has been told in 5 films to date? According to the storyline, Freddy, played by actor Robert Englund, is the obscene result of multiple attacks by inmates upon a woman trapped at an asylum. This bastard of 100 maniacs grew up to be a kidnapper and murderer of teenagers. A travesty the parents of this fictional Elm Street in Springwood, USA, decided to halt when the courts would not. They burned Freddy, some say to death. And now he stalks their children through the youngsters' dreams. Freddy is truly a horrific sight. A wisecracking demonic terror with his scarred, mottled face and signature glove with steel knives. A glove he likes to use with calculated effect. Not a particularly appetizing protagonist, yet the Nightmare films have spawned a whole following for what has become the Freddy mythos. This celebrated figure stands apart from many of his horror brethren. Freddy has clout, despite the ample serving of mean-spirited slashing and gore that might lead some to dismiss the Nightmare series as just another glossy splatter movie. Splatter, the genre of films where a thematic plot functions simply as a vehicle for the real intent. Depiction of appalling and bloody acts of physical mutilation and psychological brutality. The Nightmare series focuses on horror, yes, but has attained recognition because it also offers cinematic substance. It deals with realistic life issues, and its theme of dreams as a door to a world beyond is a well-accepted facet of supernatural fiction. The films have been said to tap profound adolescent fears, then exorcise them. It's catharsis on the cheap. The first Nightmare on Elm Street movie deals with the themes of alcoholism and drugs and taking charge of one's life. Nancy, the heroine in the first film, is haunted by something monstrous in her dreams that wants to kill her. She finds her high school friends are having the same dream and are being systematically butchered. Nancy knows Freddy attacks during slumber, and she refuses to sleep, refuses her girlfriend's urging to have some drugs. She takes responsibility for herself, deals with painful truths, and survives while others sleep and die.
Maybe I better go tell the lieutenant.
Kill you slow.
In the second Freddy movie, the filmmakers deal with sexual issues and the physical awakening of adolescence. As in the earlier film, it also deals with staring down one's vulnerability, the awareness that one's life can be changed unexpectedly and horribly at any moment. This one is aptly titled Freddy's Revenge. During the filming of Nightmare 3, a decision was made to make Freddy less scary and more the wisecracking anti-hero. Audiences grew even more after that. A strong point in the Nightmare movies is their championing of young persons, those ignored by their parents or ostracized by their peers, and the hope for their futures if they are strong in character and fortitude. Sequels, Freddy moves to higher levels of evil and gains greater powers, as shown in this scene from Nightmare on Elm Street 4. Freddy is attacking the future of these teens, whom he menaces. Their mettle and resourcefulness are tested. The creators of Freddy do not see any reason why this nightmare can't continue. There are messages in these movies, and more to deliver. Perhaps the best way to breathe continuing life into the series is unveiled in Nightmare 5, Son of Freddy. As they say, the nightmare continues.
It's a boy!
Trailers are great. I mean, I love 50s trailers. Because, Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, you ever seen the trailer for that? It's great. I mean, they're great stuff. They're great stuff. They're an intensification very often of what's in the picture, and it has to be said, very often all the best bits of the picture get put in the trailer.
Once a normal, voluptuously beautiful woman, she drove into a nightmare of horror and saw descending from the sky a titanic monster whose fearsome touch became a frightful curse. What she saw was beyond belief until others, too, faced its hideous, uncontrollable menace. Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, incredibly huge, with incredible desires for love and vengeance.
Below a certain level of excellence, a film needs to offer a little extra something to attract viewers to the box office. In this area of promotion, horror films have always been ingenious.
The curse of the mummy's tomb and the Gorgon. He said the Gorgon, both in petrifying color, they will frighten you. Yeah.
How can you protect yourself from the forces of evil? Now, disguise yourself from the menace of Rasputin, the Mad Monarch. You will apologize for laughing at me.
It was traditional for horror shows to come bearing gifts for the audience, whether in the form of plastic coins, magic seeds, insurance policies, or even this preposterous souvenir.
Your only hope is to get your free Rasputin beard as you enter the theater to see Rasputin, the Mad Monk.
Audience participation was a concept pioneered by the makers of horror films. Here, a fright break was promised to viewers of Homicidal.
For the first time in screen history, a special interval will be provided during the running of this picture for refunding your admission. If you're unable to stand the almost unbearable suspense, the almost paralyzing shock of Homicidal.
The producer, William Castle, had other tricks up his sleeve, always announced in his previews.
For years, I have searched for a unique way whereby a motion picture audience can actually decide the climax of a picture. I have found such a way. My latest picture, Mr. Sardonicus, offers something no audience has ever had before: the power to determine the fate of a character on the screen. The power to punish.
Mr. Sardonicus. His deeds form the fabric of nightmares.
When you come to see Mr. Sardonicus, you will receive a ballot like this. At a certain point in the picture, you will vote thumbs up or thumbs down. His punishment will depend on the result of your vote.
Ironically, the audience always voted thumbs down. But then William Castle never did produce a thumbs-up version of the ending. He knew it would never be demanded. As if to punish the audience for their thirst for blood, Castle created The Tingler and announced his most famous movie gimmick. It involved the most direct form of audience participation imaginable and required $100,000 insurance on each audience member. Very simply, seats in the theater were wired, and at key points in the film, viewers got mild electric shocks. Horror movies have been accused of everything, including pushing people to commit murder. But this is a welcome marketing opportunity for horror filmmakers. Consider this statement by Dr. William Bryan.
In 1960, I was consulted regarding a tragic case of a triple murderer who strangled his victims immediately after viewing the movie Psycho. His fascinating analysis under hypnosis, now a matter of record in my book, came to the attention of the producers of Dementia 13, who asked me to devise a method of preventing a recurrence of this tragedy.
You will now take the test prepared by Dr. Bryan to determine your ability to withstand shock. One wrong answer could mean you are a threat to your community. Have you ever spoken aloud to yourself in a mirror? Were you ever involved in what passed for an accident, but which you purposely caused? Did you ever do anything seriously wrong for which you felt absolutely no guilt? True or false? Death by drowning in a pond is best described as exciting. True or false? The most effective way of settling a dispute is with one quick stroke of the axe to your adversary's head.
If Psycho pushed someone to murder, the unindicted co-conspirator was Alfred Hitchcock. He was not only a master of terror, but also a master at drawing large crowds.
I've suggested that Psycho be seen from the beginning. In fact, this is more than a suggestion. It is required.
This requirement created captive audiences to Hitchcock's tape-recorded messages through loudspeakers before each show.
I insist that you do not tell your friends the little, tiny, horrifying secrets of Psycho after you see it.
The plan worked, but Hitchcock's effort had actually started months earlier in what was to become a classic preview.
In that window on the second floor, the single one in front, that's where the woman was first seen. Let's go inside. You see, even in daylight, this place still looks a bit sinister. Now, it was at the top of these stairs that the second murder took place. She came out of the door there and met the victim at the top. Of course, in a flash, there was the knife, and in no time, the victim tumbled and fell with a horrible crash. I think the back broke immediately and hit the floor. It's difficult to describe the way that the twisting of the well, I won't dwell upon it. Come upstairs. Of course, the victim, or should I say victims, hadn't any conception as to the type of people they would be confronted with in this house, especially the woman. She was the weirdest and the most... Well, let's go into her bedroom. Here's the woman's room, still beautifully preserved. And the imprint of her figure on the bed where she used to lay. I think some of her clothes are still in this wardrobe. This was the son's room, but we won't go in there because his favorite spot was the little parlor behind his office in the motel. Let's go down there. This young man, you had to feel sorry for him. After all, being dominated by an almost maniacal woman was enough to drive anyone to the extreme of, well, let's go in. Well, I suppose you'd call this his hideaway. His hobby, as you see, was taxidermy. Crow here, an owl there. Now, an important scene took place in this room. There was a private supper here. And, oh, by the way, this picture has great significance because, let's go along to cabin number 1. I want to show you something there. All tidied up. The bathroom. Well, they've cleaned all this up now. Big difference. You should have seen the blood. The whole place was, well, it's too horrible to describe. Dreadful. And I'll tell you, there's a very important clue was found here. Down there. Well, the murderer, you see, crept in here. Very slowly. Of course, the shower was on. There was no sound. And,
Today's previews carry on the tradition, especially at the low end of production. Troma Films, a leader of grade Z movies, are instantly recognized through their previews. Their fans want horror, and we asked why.
It's part of life. It is life. Life is horrible. You get born, they beat you in the behind, they put you in a cold scale, then people die all around you. You wonder whether you're going to have enough food. The tax man comes, the rent is due. Life is horrible. I mean, right? I mean, there are a lot of nice things, too, but generally it's pretty scary.
Meet little Melvin. He's a 90-pound weakling. Everyone hated Melvin.
I'm gonna take this mop and shove it down your throat.
They teased him.
I'm gonna do it with you. Okay.
They taunted him. They tormented him until he had a horrifying accident and fell into a vat of nuclear waste. Transforming little Melvin into a hideously deformed creature of superhuman size and strength. Melvin became the Toxic Avenger. The first superhero born out of nuclear waste.
In terms of subject matter, we get a lot of it out of the newspapers. The environmental problem was Toxic Avenger. The class of Nukem High dealt with the nuclear power plant.
Welcome to Tromaville High, an average American high school, with one exception. It's located only 1 mile away from a nuclear power plant. They said it was 100% safe. But they were wrong.
There's no danger, Governor. You have the situation well in hand.
Welcome to the class of Nukem High. Yes, at Nukem High, strange things are happening. The Honor Society has changed from a group of clean-cut preppies into a vicious gang of cretins.
We're the youth of today.
The class of Nukem High, where you'll learn the 3 R's. Reading, frighten, and radiation.
We have a certain vision of life. We're interested in small town America, you know, typical American life. And our movies reflect our view of the American life as we see it.
The most mysterious, inexplicable, and incredible events often take place in the most ordinary places. Usually these seemingly unexplainable occurrences are eventually explained, but every so often they remain mysteriously incredible. Monster in the closet.
The president declares national emergency.
Yes, it was something so hideous, so gruesome, so frightful, that it could only dwell in one place. Monster in the closet. It's coming out.
The old man! She done come home to lose.
Here are a trio of films dealing with pets of horror. They hold their own against the monsters and fantasy creatures so common in today's films.
I said get and get. Did you hear that? I made the signal. I told you, and I told you, and I told you.
Would you shut up and listen?
You come in here and you go in there, and you go to Rutten. Rutten and Rutten. You think I don't know?
This man's best friend is his crocodile, who proves to be most companionable at dinner time.
Oh, Croc, eat anything. Even old Buck.
Here, a boy and his rats are perfect allies in mischief and revenge.
Oh, the wire
stole the business from my father. And second, they killed my mother. And third, you're trying to ruin me.
What are you talking?
You never left me alone for a minute. You made a fool out of me in front of everybody, and now you're trying to steal my house.
Oh, no.
I heard you! That's why you're trying to fire me. You killed my friend.
I killed who?
How did Socrates feel when you stuck him with this? How did Socrates feel?
Well, who the hell is Socrates?
Socrates was the best friend I ever had. A dog! Tear him up!
No, Willie! No, Willie! Willie, no! No, Willie!
In this scene, directed by Dario Argento, a man will die in the privacy of his home. Argento keeps the camera on a pet chimpanzee's face to mix together helplessness, terror, and violence.
You've locked yourself out, you silly guddle. Come forget it. This damn machine. What on earth is going on around here? Who's that? Is there someone there? What? Why? Who is it? Answer me! Who are you?
And now, a very special Shadow Theater tribute to witchcraft in the movies.
Witchcraft has always fascinated film audiences.
What is thy purpose?
In The Devil's Reign, Ernest Borgnine is the demon who is after an ancient book which will help him to take over mankind.
Then I command this soul to be purified by fire and water. Almighty light and burning flame of comfort, enter this body and cleanse it of its unworthy soul.
While William Shatner cries out for his lost soul, other popular actors, including Eddie Albert, discover a crystal ball filled with the screaming souls of doomed victims.
What is that?
Possessed by Corbus for 300 years. From Wellington until now. The Devil's Reign. Cherry.
Once the Devil's Reign has been unleashed, the men and women Ernest Borgnine has turned into soulless zombies begin to melt. Roger Corman's popular Mask of the Red Death presents a dark plague over 12th century Italy, causing people to do things they would not ordinarily do.
I have tasted the beauties of terror.
Once Vincent Price makes a pact with the devil, his castle becomes a sanctuary from the plague. But as a devil worshiper, Price becomes a very cruel prince.
Listen. The passing of time. The beating of a heart. The footstep of an assassin. Destiny. I beg you do not mourn for Juliana. We should celebrate. She has just married a friend of mine. Let the mask begin!
Roger Corman is well known for discovering unknown talents, such as actor Jack Nicholson and director Francis Ford Coppola. For Mask of the Red Death, Corman enlisted the talents of an unknown cameraman named Nicholas Roeg, who has gone on to direct some of the more bizarre films of the past decade.
My dear, I believe Hop Toad is playing some sort of a joke on Alfredo.
I will set you to tortures unimagined.
You have already tortured by your cruelty to my Esmeralda. Hold this! The great African ape says he wants some brandy! You no longer turn away from the cruelties of life.
I no longer care. My life is done. What's left, I give to you tonight.
Guards, clear that out of the way. How can my guests be expected to dance around that?
And when you find Hop Toad, give him 5 pieces of gold as a reward for his entertaining jest. You've pleased me very much, my dear.
The torture chamber of Dr. Sadism stars Christopher Lee as the evil Count Regula, who was beheaded and dismembered for killing 12 virgins. 40 years later, his servants put him back together so that the Count may sacrifice the 13th victim and attain everlasting life, according to a pact that the Count signed with the devil. Actor Lex Barker is out to stop the Count, but first he must survive a very deadly forest.
Hey, what's that? What the devil are you up to? You're not driving a load of animals?
The Count must have blood from terrified virgins, or his demonic spell won't work. So the Count has equipped his castle with a variety of devices calculated to scare its victims almost to death. The Count Regula's devices work almost too well until the Count is only a few moments away from everlasting life. But when God's will is invoked, the evil Count Regula begins to fear for his own life, and with good reason.
Throw it away. Throw it away. Throw it away! Pleasure. Get out alive!
Moviegoers have long been fascinated with life after death, and with cops and robbers.
I love this job, Roger. I love the power. I love the little badges. I love being a human target for anyone within sniping range of a donut shop.
The comedy horror film Dead Heat gives them both, along with top Hollywood actors Treat Williams and Joe Piscopo.
Dispatcher.
5 Adam 38, please respond.
5 Adam 38, what?
211 in progress at Melrose Place. Proceed immediately.
You didn't say may I?
What are you doing?
Just looking.
Morning, detective. Got a bit of a situation. Perps in the jewelry store with automatic weapons.
Freeze! Drop your weapons! Why aren't these guys dead? We've hit them about 50 times each.
Maybe they're just flesh wounds. Will you cover me, please?
When Treat Williams is killed in the line of duty, it's up to Joe Piscopo to track down his murderers. And who better to help him solve this case of a lifetime than the late detective himself, played by Treat Williams. Treat Williams' multifaceted talent has enabled him to make a name for himself on stage, screen, and television, and has earned him a reputation for choosing diverse and sometimes dangerous roles as well.
My career is definitely an eclectic one. I mean, I like the idea of surprising people. You know, it's fun. Oh, I suppose in certain regards, it's a little more difficult. People expect you to do one thing, and it's easier to work, but I've always been one for a challenge, I guess.
I'm dead, Rebecca. How much worse can it get?
The resurrection process has an unfortunate side effect.
Which is what?
All of the cells of your body will dissolve into a kind of organic stew.
Roger Mortis is a guy who's a very serious cop who, in the final moment of his life, has a great revelation. He's never had any fun. And he gets killed, and he gets brought back to life for 12 hours. And in that 12 hours of time, he finds out how much fun life really is.
Okay, here we go. Action!
And the film is about what happens to him in the process after having been brought back to life as he begins to deteriorate. He has very little time left.
That's okay. Don't get up.
There's obviously, if you look at it in a black way, there's a lot of humor involved in terms of finding out how he deteriorates and to what degree.
Treat Williams' sidekick in Dead Heat is Joe Piscopo, whose stint on television's Saturday Night Live show propelled him to stardom. His popular characterizations on the show remain some of the all-time favorites. They also serve to prove that Joe Piscopo is not afraid of any challenge, much less that of playing sidekick to a dead police officer.
And rehearsing. Action!
It's an exciting film. It's kind of cool. I would go see this film because I like science fiction. And Dead Heat is a cross between RoboCop, Lethal Weapon, and Night of the Living Dead. It has got every element that you'd ever want to see in a movie. They covered all bases. I don't know what it is, but suddenly I've lost my appetite.
Oh, this is a romp. This is an absolute camp, but don't tell anybody.
And it wouldn't be camp in the Hollywood tradition without the talents of such notorious actors as Darren McGavin and Vincent Price.
Friends and associates, how nice to see you again.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, a quick impression, Marlon Zombie.
I'm gonna take it out of this stove.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have another number for you.
Right here.
Jerry Lewis is zombie.
Right here. Ow, I don't feel very good. I'm a zombie, Dean. I'm a zombie.
So we ready to
No, we haven't been here too many hours, have we?
These were anywhere from 12 to 18-hour days. It was what we call in the business a tough shoot, but a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun making it, and Joe made me laugh more than I've laughed in years. And so I'm hoping people will like it as much as we do.
Roger, you were underwater in that jacuzzi for 5 straight minutes. That's right, I was. Did you teach my girlfriend how to do that? Bigelow's great. Bigelow's like a lot like me. Just cruising through life, trying to have a good time.
Joe represents what the audience sees. Joe comments physically on what's happening. He sees things that are funny and he announces it. His character. Mine doesn't do that. Mine is the straight, you know, dead-ahead cop. Everybody slows, at least. They may not stop, but they slow down when there's an accident. Let's face it. We are all fascinated by what could happen to us. I mean, everybody's fascinated by the bizarre.
Take it easy, mister. You're not well.
It's not real. You know it's not real. It's special effects gone rampant.
Detective Mortis, homicide. You're a cop. Surprise.
But I think it takes the zombie movie to different heights. I don't know what direction it actually takes the zombie movie, but it's a genre of horror and comedy and zombies all thrown together in a kind of to me, it's the closest thing to going to that movie is like going to a fun house. You get scared, but in a fun way.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre started a revolution in low-budget horror movies. Produced for under $150,000, it made over $25 million, inspiring many other filmmakers to copy the graphically realistic violence and horror that the Chainsaw movies portrayed. As a matter of fact, the Chainsaw movie was so violent, it was originally given an X rating.
You're my fave. Me and Bubba, my little brother, we listen to you every night. Music is my life. You know, you're my fave, but I get too embarrassed to phone in my request. It's too disembodied, you know. But now that we're here in flesh and blood, I could maybe make a request and it'd still count, huh?
Hurry up, Leatherface!
Rain, 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 rain. Music is my life.
Leatherface, the power saw-wielding anti-hero of the landmark Texas Chainsaw Massacre film, continued his bloody exploits in Texas Chainsaw 2. Dennis Hopper demonstrates his hatred for Leatherface.
Now, you're getting as mean as a stingbat seal. No, hell, don't call back. No, don't you call back. I got a business here, and pleasure ain't none of my business. What can I do you for?
Boys, boys, boys.
What the hell's going on here? That's the American way of entering a man's home singing like that? Oh, I get it. The old pressure game, huh?
Boys, you never should have been doing this.
Now in production at New Hall Ranch in Valencia, California, is the latest installment in the Leatherface saga. Director Jeff Burr is overseeing the deliberate mayhem that will be Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3.
Well, I don't know. I think it's my third one, and I don't know. We spend a lot of time bloody.
Okay, there's the chainsaw, of course, and then there's being nailed to a chair, stabbed, strangled, dragged, drowned, punched, those kind of things.
I think I can do without watching this.
Go this way a little before you get
and then, yeah.
All right, here we go, right away.
Got even to there.
Come on, guys, cameras up.
I flipped a car off of a cliff. We've had numerous fights. We had a guy on fire. We've had a couple other car crashes and a big fight in a pit full of bodies.
this film, I'm treated like an animal, so the average American gets to see what it's like to be stalked and actually treated like, cattle. It's literally what we're treated like in this film, so I think it has a nice message to it, if you'd like to take it that way. If you're looking for a message, that's definitely it.
I don't think I ever imagined ever doing a horror film. I never imagined it, in fact, because I'm not a horror fan. I was a dancer for a while, and then I studied mime with Marcel Marceau in Paris. We have fake rocks and things that have to look heavy and that kind of thing. So I think that helped me a lot. The being dragged around and pushed down and knowing how to fall really helped me a lot, because I didn't want them to use a stunt woman too much, because it's not the same thing. And knowing how to fall enabled me to do a lot of my stunts and stuff.
Roll sound.
This sequel to the original cult classic is designed to hit with the same visceral impact. For the actors, it is a wrenching experience to create the malicious bloodletting that is vintage Texas Chainsaw. The parts are physically demanding, and much of the filming is done at night. The actors and crew form bonds, much like a family, during the demanding film schedule. Their collective efforts are with one goal in mind: to depict the gruesome exploits of a demented family, the Chainsaw family.
Horror films are, to me, one of the best genres, because you can really do anything you want without fear of reprisal. And studios will be going, well, it's a horror film, yeah, I guess it's okay, because very few people really understand the genre and respect the genre. And so it's kind of like a renegade filmmaking.
The ugly visage of the hideous and powerful Leatherface takes painstaking work by the makeup department. The term Leatherface is appropriate for this killer who enjoys sporting the skin of his victims and hiding behind the mask of a corpse's hide.
The thing I learned from studying the weaponry was that in the ancient times, the warriors were one with their weapons, and so I've become one with my chainsaw. I'm a perfectly normal guy, sort of, off camera. But, once you get in front of the camera, you just, it's acting.
Ready? Okay.
Basically what we're doing, Leatherface wears a mask that he's constructed of body parts or people's faces from people that he's killed. And the mouth area and the eye area is left open, so because he's been skinned. So basically what we're simulating is skin that's been, obviously the eye area, the eyeball would fall out if it didn't have eyelids, and the lip, the mouth would not be there if it wasn't for the lip area. He was not skinned there. So what we do is we duplicate around the mouth, eye, and the eye area all the skin that's been peeled and dead. It's pretty much deteriorated.
The challenge for the filmmakers in shooting Texas Chainsaw 3 is to match the realism of the original. The gripping vision of the first film made its title synonymous with horror. Any discussion of the horror film genre would be incomplete without Texas Chainsaw Massacre. In the sequels, an attempt is made to build on the Leatherface mythos, a fictional murderer who has become a firmly entrenched figure in terror cinema. Leatherface is nasty in spirit, looks, and demeanor. Nonetheless, this character has proven to be a major star, with audiences displaying a morbid fascination for him. The Texas Chainsaw films do not rely on extensive special effects for their particular appeal. It is the chilling actions of twisted human minds that give urgency and realism to these productions.
You want more smoke out of the thing? He's got the thing right in his hand. Okay. Slightly when you do it. There you go. Thank you.
Got it,
looks
chainsaw?
lovely. Ready?